From independence to date, UPND is the only political party that has a component of development in its name. So that makes us unique.
When is this government going to come to terms with the reality on the ground?
In 4 years, they've borrowed more than what PF borrowed in 10 years.
But the problem is he is too weak. He has let go of his authority, of his power to the IMF. They are the ones calling shots.
If I wasn't the head of state and serving in this government, I would be praising this government.
For doing what?
I'm sure if you're in Zambia, there's something that just feels wrong about the country, or something feels like it's missing. And I'm sure you know it's the opposition. Right now, Zambia feels like there's no opposition to the current government. There's no main rival. Because if we look at past events or past governments, there was always an opposition, a main opposition or rival to the ruling party or ruling government. But these days it feels like there's none. There is no resistance to the ruling party. Like if you go back in the day when Zambia became a democracy in the 1990s, we knew that MMD was the main rival to UNIP. That was the ruling party from the time we gained independence. I wasn't born during that period, I'm not that old, but yes, we did know, or from history we know that MMD was the main rival to UNIP. Then we did know when MMD got into power, we did know that the Patriotic Front was their main rival. Then when Patriotic Front got into power, we did know that the MMD, UPND were the main rivals. And when the UPND, the current ruling party, got into government, initially we thought, before various events happened, we did know that the PF was one of their main rivals. Like if we saw the last presidential or general election results, there was the difference between the ruling party or the party that won the election and the second was like about 1 million votes. But right now, it feels like there's no resistance to the current government. But if you really go through social media, things like Facebook as well as TikTok, that's where you find most of these opposition party presidents and members very active, where they're able to air their views. But for most, they just criticize the current government for what they're doing, for laws and bills that they try or are trying to pass. But also, they do talk about some of the laws and bills that most citizens in Zambia do not know are being discussed in parliament. Like for example, the Bill 7 thing and the cyber crimes bill, or now it's a law. Yeah, I didn't know much about that. I didn't know it was happening. But when I went through TikTok, I found some various members of parliament who are part of the opposition. They did talk about these kinds of things, as well as other political parties and their leaders. They did talk about these things and explained various things about it. Like the Bill 7, which the government has put on pause. They've delayed it, they've postponed it because of the feedback that people got. Mainly, I think pressure was given the government through social media, because that's where the opposition were aiming and trying to spread information about this bill. So I went through this bill, I read part of it, I didn't finish, but in part of it I saw that there was something about what happens when a member of parliament who's part of a political party maybe dies, gets arrested, or resigns. So according to that bill, part of it where it talks about this says that the party that the person belongs to will find a replacement for the member of parliament. But in the case where the member of parliament is an independent, didn't belong to any political party, that's when elections were being held. Because I saw a report online that said the government spends about 300 million kwacha on elections. Each election costs that much. So I think it's a strategy to make sure that the government is saving money on these kind of things, which is not bad. But then I said to think about it. Let's think about this in a way whereby an MP maybe resigns, and now the party he belongs to has to find a replacement. What if they get a replacement who's not really familiar with the people and the area where this MP is being taken? The people are not familiar with him, he's not familiar with the people and the struggles that they go through, and it's just like, the people don't have that trust. At least it'd be nice if the if they were to take someone who's from the same area, who knows the town in and out, maybe is a citizen of that town or city, I think that's going to be better. Yeah. But for the opposition, most of what I've seen is them just criticizing the government. So let's talk about the former ruling party, the Patriotic Front, PF. I think this party just fell into confusion after they lost the elections. So let me explain. After the PF had lost the election, our former late president, Edgar Chagwa Lungu, he stepped down from politics and the party went into confusion, whereby the party broke into factions. So initially there were two factions, if I'm not wrong. Well, correct me in the comments if I'm not wrong. If I'm wrong. So first, there was a faction that is being led by Member of Parliament Mao Sampa. Another faction that was being ruled or held by Robert Kabinga, who is another Member of Parliament. So there was this divide on who's going to rule or who's the party president or the leader of the party. But then, in early 2024, the former president, Edgar Chagwa Lungu, said he's back into politics. Different people have different reasons to why this might have happened, but most people would believe it was from pressure from the ruling party trying to pressure him, some people believe that pressure is what said and made him get back into politics. So then now they became three factions again. One ruled by Mao Sampa, the Member of Parliament, another by Robert Kabinga, Member of Parliament, as well as by the former president, Edgar Chagwa Lungu. So now there are three factions. If we look at the former ruling party, the Patriotic Front, most of its former ministers and members of parliament, a lot of them have been going through court cases. They're being investigated by the ACC, Anti-Corruption Commission, for various stuff like corruption, abuse of public funds, and how some of them acquired their assets and all those things. But let me go back to 2024, early 2024. During this period, just when our former late president mentioned he was getting back into politics, there was an alliance that was formed. It was called the United Kwacha Alliance. So this alliance was made up of the Patriotic Front, the former ruling party, as well as many other political parties, with their main goal to win the 2026 elections and kick out the current government. But this alliance didn't really work out because there were disputes in the alliance about who was going to lead the party, leadership disputes and everything. So it broke down. Then in late 2024, there was another alliance that was made. This one was now called the Tonse Alliance, which included the Patriotic Front PF, as well as many other parties that were also part of the UKA alliance. And up to now, that alliance still exists. But during that period, they said our former late president would be the ruler of the alliance, would be the president of the alliance. Of which, right now, I think the alliance might also break up. If they are not unified, the alliance is going to fail. Why do I say that? Because our late president, Edgar Chagwa Lungu, we got news last month that he had passed away in South Africa due to illness. And now there's a dispute that's going on between the Lungu family as well as the current government about how the burial should be done, where it should take place and all that kind of stuff. I'll make a video about it. So right now that they're going through court so that they can solve this issue and everything, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But now we just have to wait and see. Maybe the opposition is waiting for the official campaign period. So what is this campaign period? Usually after nominations have been done, immediately after nominations have been submitted to the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Usually the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, is the one who announces the official campaign period, which lasts about 2 months. So after nomination day, then the campaign period begins, which goes up until the election day. So maybe they're waiting for this period. But then I did see some posts online, I think it was on Facebook, where some opposition party members were saying that after the former president is laid to rest, that's when they're going to begin now pumping out and being active on the ground. But which maybe it might be too late. Why I say that is because right now the ruling party is doing so much. Just like in the city or town that I'm in right now, They're doing so many works, road works, they're building hospitals, clinics, and they're doing so much for the community, of which I do give them applause and gratitude. In the recent by-elections that have been happening around the country, the ruling party has won a lot of them, if not most of them. And this shows the opposition might, be crushed. I think in Zambia, there's this thing where I think maybe we got used to having inactive government. Government said don't do much for the people and everything. But now, I do see the government is trying to improve the lives of the people. But again, there are people who actually, they praise the government too much. They give the government too much praise, We know the job and duties of the government and the local councils. But then now people just praise these governments too much for the work that they're supposed to do. Which, being grateful and thankful for them is okay. But now when you start to praise them like they are gods, I think now that just becomes too much. Anyway, people, thank you for checking out this video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. And I'll catch you on my next video. Peace.